to another midweek 5-minute focus where I just want to take a few minutes to encourage you in the middle of your week. I think sometimes when we go through our week, we can sometimes get a little bit discouraged, the things that we go through in our lives, things that we experience, and especially when we start looking at the world around us, it's very easy for us to get a little bit discouraged, maybe even a bit drained emotionally, mentally, even spiritually. And so I want to read a couple passages to you, two fairly lengthy passages to give you some encouragement and some hope, to show that God is a good God and that He has a plan, and it's a good plan, and we can definitely live our lives with hope, knowing that God is in control. And so I want to start with a passage at the beginning of the Bible. In Genesis chapter 2, verse 4, it says, "This is the account of the heavens and the earth when they were created, when the Lord God made the heavens and the earth. Now no shrub had yet appeared on the earth, and no plant had yet sprung up, for the Lord God had not sent rain on the earth, and there was no one to work the ground. But streams came up from the earth and watered the whole surface of the ground. Then the Lord God formed a man from the dust on the ground, and He breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living being. Now the Lord God had planted a garden in the east, in Eden, and there He put the man that He had formed. And the Lord God formed all kinds of trees to grow out of the ground, trees that were pleasing to the eye and good for food." And it goes on to say that He's created all kinds of animals as well, and brings them to the man to see what he would name them. But for Adam no suitable helper was found. So the Lord God caused the man to fall into a deep sleep. And while he was sleeping, He took one of the man's ribs, and He closed up the place with flesh. And the Lord God made a woman from the rib that He had taken out of the man, and He brought her to the man. And I just can't help but think, this is the very first wedding, the very first marriage that ever happened. And I think of the traditional weddings that we see in our culture here today, where typically the father would be walking the bride, who is beautifully dressed for her husband, and he walks her down the aisle towards the groom, and the two of them become one. Which I think is exactly what we see happening in this passage too, where God the Father takes this woman who is beautifully clothed in absolute purity, and He walks her towards the groom, and the two of them become one. And so this is what we see in the beginning in Genesis 2, and all kinds of things happen in the middle of the Bible. All kinds of things happen in our lives and can be discouraging. But I want us to go right to the end in Revelation chapter 21 and see the hope that God has given us. In 21 verse 1 it says, "Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and there was no longer any sea. I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride beautifully dressed for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, 'Look, God's dwelling place is now among the people, and He will dwell with them. They will be His people, and God Himself will be with them and be their God. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death, or mourning, or crying, or pain, for the old order of things has passed away. He who is seated on the throne said, I am making everything new.' Then He said, 'Write this down, for these words are trustworthy and true.' And He said to me, 'It is done. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. To the thirsty I will give water without cost from the spring of the water of life. Those who are victorious will inherit all of this, and I will be their God, and they will be my children.'" How encouraging is that? How much hope does that bring us? It doesn't matter that sometimes we go through such difficult times and we struggle and we have pain on this earth, because for those of us that are believers, we have an incredible future to look forward to. God has prepared something for us that we can be so excited for. And so I just want to encourage you, in the words of the Apostle Paul, to fight the good faith, finish the race, and keep the faith.